From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's hour number 2 of the All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in real time. Just ahead, the review of the Cadillac XT6 It's a Cadillac. Mars is going to do it, whether he likes it or has time to do it or not, because I don't have anything else I can pad the time with. So we got that coming up. We're also going to take you into the Mystery Garage later this hour. And actually, this entire program has been kind of a mystery, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, since we're not Zooming today because of technical difficulties.
Yeah, and we
didn't change anything, and all of a sudden, Zoom, we see the video, they hear us, but we can't hear them. So we're going to see if Angelica Brothers knows sign language and she can sign to us while she's doing it. Go ahead, give us some sign language. No, not that one.
There is that one.
Everybody understands that one.
There is that. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about the upcoming Bring Back Bronco, the Untold Story podcast. So we've got that coming up as well. We were going to have Fast Jack Beckman on to talk about hot rod history, a quarter mile at a time, a new video series. And unfortunately, with the Zoom issue, we're not going to be able to talk to him. But I do want you to check out Dodge Garage, where you can find Jack Beckman's hot rod history. There's 8 episodes of it. I watched one, and it is very, very good.
Beckman's a hoot, too.
Yeah, well, he is. But this particular thing is very interesting. It's kind of a long but different than the Bring Back Bronco podcast. This is a video series with Jack sitting in front of the camera. I did not realize how well-versed he was. This guy, when he decides that he doesn't want to drive funny cars anymore, needs to be on television. Either in the booth or somewhere.
Well, he's done some sit-ins in the booth on some of the shows, and generally, and I know he wouldn't want to admit to this, if he goes out early in eliminations, I've heard him in the booth before talking.
He's very good.
He's smooth.
Well, and the nice thing about it is that he knows the inside and out of drag racing and drag cars, and especially at the top level, top fuel. So there is that. We were talking about all sorts of different things in the first hour of the show, and we're going to continue that theme, as a matter of fact. So, cars that have appeared on screen. The top 3 car models featured on screen. And
so do we guess at who they are? Have all of our Facebook folks give us a few guesses on what cars.
Well, we're going to go through this so fast that you don't
do it quickly.
Yeah, do it real fast. So what would you think? Now, here's the question. The top 3 car models featured on screen. What do you think?
Mustang's got to be one of them.
It's in there, but it's not the most. Well,
really?
No, it's the top 3.
Okay. I was going to say Mustang would have to be one of them. What else? I would say.
What would you think number 3 would be?
I'm going to say some kind of Ferrari, but I don't know.
No, you're thinking like I did because we're car guys. But the number 3 car that has had 3,401 appearances.
A Renault Dauphine.
Nope. A Mercedes-Benz S-Class.
Okay. Well, yeah, because
while it hasn't had many starring roles, it has managed to rack up an impressive amount of appearances in films and TV shows over the years, including Fast and Furious 6 and Kill Bill Volume 1. Number 2, you hit it, is the Ford Mustang. It's number 2. It's not number 1. And I would have thought that the Mustang would have been number 1.
Yeah, I would have as well, because when
3,000.
you look at how many different times Mustangs has been the star of the show, whether it was Bullitt, whether it was there was a James Bond movie where a 73 Mustang,
3,504 appearances. One of its first big screen outings was in the James Bond movie Goldfinger. Right. But the Mustang is best remembered for the infamous chase through the streets of San Francisco in the Bullitt.
And you can actually go, and there is a tour of the streets of San Francisco you can take in San Francisco, and they actually take you out they made a Bullitt a couple of years ago, the green Bullitt Ford did, and they take you out in one of those, not at those speeds, but through all of those roads. But I don't think they bring you down that one road that they repeated the film of like 6 times as the Charger lost its hubcap 3 times. But
By the way, speaking of the number one car, the number one model featured on screen is
Volkswagen Beetle.
the Ford Crown Victoria.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, you would think so?
Because all the police cars.
Well, the first one that comes to my mind is was it the Blues Brothers?
No, Blues Brothers was a Chrysler.
It was Chryslers. All those cop cars were Chryslers.
Oh yeah. Well, because they had a relationship with Chrysler, and they talked about Oldsmobile when they were going through the mall. The new Oldsmobiles are in.
Out of the 61,683 Ford appearances, 6,572 of them were the Crown Vic, which is commonly used as a police car, and taxis
Yeah,
in films and TV series. The most famous Crown Vic is probably the version driven by the Men in Black. Okay, let's move on to the top 3 car brands featured on screen.
Well, it's got to be Ford right off the bat if you had Mustang and Crown Vic.
Don't be so dang fast.
I'm sorry.
Let's start with number 3. Let's start with number 3. What would you think the car brand now? The number 3 car brand.
Chevy.
Correct. 34,178 appearances in movies and TV shows. The Chevy is an iconic American brand, and they've seen their vehicles used in movies such as Fast and Furious, American Graffiti, and Days of Thunder, and even appeared as the Batmobile in Tim Burton's Batman movies.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Me either.
Okay. Number 2. The number 2.
Mercedes.
Did you peek?
Nope.
Yeah, the number 2 car, Mercedes-Benz, 34,675 film and TV show appearances, including the Red Baron 600 limousine, which is used by Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin.
Okay. I've never been the modern Batman fan, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I have ever watched any of the modern Batmans from beginning to end.
Oh, really?
Never been a fan of any of them.
The number 1 car brand featured on screen?
Got to be Ford when you talk about Mustang.
Dominates the list of the most common movie car brands with an incredible 61,000 appearances. Let's not forget, the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, yeah.
It's not surprising the American manufacturer took top spot with iconic vehicles such as the 1966 Thunderbird from Thelma and Louise and Grease Lightning itself from Grease, which was a 1948 Ford Deluxe convertible.
Or Cujo. Remember Cujo? The mad dog? The mad St. Bernard Cujo? And she's in there trying to start the Pinto and it won't start and the dog jumps up on the hood. There was a Ford in the movies.
That was back in a day, ladies and gentlemen, that I think that Conrad was doing something other than Starbucks Triple Energy. Just saying. That'd be my guess. I don't know.
Man, but I can't remember.
Ding! That's it.
You know, when I was young, my parents asked me, "What'd you do with all your money?" I said, "I don't know. It went up in smoke." And I'm sure George is out there laughing.
Oh, Lord. Anyway. I did want to.
Oh, well, actually, Dave Vera said, how come Jeep's not on the list? Because I'd have thought Jeep would have had a pretty good, and I'll agree with him, that Jeep would have had a pretty good standing on being seen in lots of things.
So
if you
when
consider all of the war movies through the years.
Well,
and how
there's
many
that.
Jeeps were in there.
Yes, and let's not forget MASH. And let's not forget something called Rat Patrol.
Oh, I loved Rat Patrol.
We all loved Rat Patrol. Well, yeah, Vic Morrow was in Rat Patrol. That was a television series. Was that in the 60s?
Yeah.
Was the 60s?
Because it was still black and white.
Yeah.
And they were driving through the desert with the 50 caliber mounted to the back, and the guy standing up shooting the 50 caliber as the guy's jumping through the dunes. I was like, that's just insane.
That is. Well, he had to have his shoes glued to the back or something.
But yeah, good point is, how come Jeep didn't rate? And you just named the top 3. It may have been rated somewhere else in there, but Jeep's actually been quite popular.
The first hour of our show today, of our 2-hour show, we were going to have John Gray on. Well, that turned into nothing because we've got a Zoom problem today. But at any rate, one of the things that we obviously talk about when it comes to John Gray and the do's and don'ts for cleaning engine compartments. This is a story that I grabbed from Haggerty.
And Haggerty's a great resource because they have lots of good articles online, or as you get the magazine as well, in the Drivers Club magazine.
So I'm just going to do this. Can I do this?
Yes, please.
Because I know that John, when he really kind of detailed the exterior, did the exterior of your. Are you ready for the car review coming up? I hope so. The exterior of the car, he also did a little work underneath the hood.
In the engine compartment.
In the engine compartment.
And you got to be careful and do that right because you can mess one up.
Now, my mother's Buick Skylark, I found a way to do it at the 25-cent car wash.
Oh, gosh.
Which is dangerous these days. Of course, there was no computer in the 69 Skylark, right? So I'd always take me a big sheet of aluminum foil. I'd put it over the distributor, encase the distributor in aluminum foil, take the air cleaner off, and cover the carburetor. And that was pretty much it. I was kind of, I only lightly touched the alternator and things that were moving.
Yeah, because putting an aluminum shield around the alternator could start a fire if the aluminum touches the wrong thing in the back of the alternator.
Well, I was dumb, but not quite there. But at any rate, and I took it to the quarter car wash frequently. You could eat off of that engine. It was magnificent. And I wish I could do that today.
You're a special guy, Don.
I know. Well, it's the weird things that kind of get me going.
But, if you leave Houston and drive to San Antonio, you can eat off of that engine, and I've done it. You wrap the chicken inside of aluminum foil, and you put all of the seasoning in.
Put it right on top of the manifold.
And you put it right down there near the exhaust manifold and drive. And then when you get to Schulenburg, you have to change sides. You either have to put it to the other side or rotate the chicken around. Otherwise, one side of the chicken's cooked and not the other. Tasted pretty good.
But what about those burn marks that you really like that you get from the grill?
There weren't any burn marks in it. The problem was when I pulled into a Cavender Oldsmobile and they could smell the rosemary and lemon of the chicken. And Don Hartman goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I saw a recipe online and I tried it." And he just laughed.
Well, it works. But at any rate, if you really want to find out who's really detailed-oriented at a car show, don't look at the hood, look under the hood. Spotless engine bay is tough to achieve and even harder to maintain. It's worth it, though, because a clean engine compartment is not only attractive, but also conducive to spotting any leaks or issues when they start, rather than leaving them to be camouflaged by grime. If your engine is dingy, an oily mess, whatever the case, you want to bring it back to a respectable condition. Here are a few tips. Ready? Take a before picture. If the engine's running smoothly, kind of hesitant to take anything apart to clean it, I'd recommend you think the same way. The old adage of "it ain't broke, don't fix it" has treated this rider well. However, to get a deep clean, you must dive deep before you start. Grab your camera, snap a picture. Even if you have a great memory, forget that. A wealth of reference materials, a photo still proves invaluable.
Yes.
Go easy. If a shelf on every auto parts store, you'll be tempted to grab that aerosol can of foaming degreaser. Gunk.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely the worst that you could. It leaves a horrible film on there. I don't care how much.
And that film means the next time you open the hood, all the dust sticks to it. And it's even that much harder to clean.
It's just. Aerosol engine cleaner works great for engines that are very heavily soiled, but most of the time the stuff is overkill. It's also deceptively involved. If you don't rinse it all off due to residue, it'll cause corrosion. Instead, spend a little extra time by using a few clean rags, spraying your detailer of choice on the rag, and simply wiping away the dirt. The writer says, typically start with a quick detailer, and if the grime is stubborn, progress to more aggressive chemicals like brake or carburetor cleaner. And let me tell you something.
Brake cleaner cleans dry.
Brake cleaner, it is a miracle. And especially the stuff that will actually, if you put a match in front of it, will light a fire. That's the best kind because it evaporates.
It evaporates, but one of the things you have to be careful about is how much you put on. So spray it on the rag and wipe. Don't just spray it on the engine because some of those cleaners can clean paint. So you can kind of strip the paint
actually,
off.
the boys over there at Roadkill, they actually use it to start engines.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, because it's so volatile.
Really?
brake cleaner, throttle body cleaner, all of those things.
If you need to wash off the grime and grit, resist the urge to reach for the pressure washer.
Please resist the urge.
Both a home pressure washer and a wand at the local DIY car wash will inject water at a dangerously high pressure.
To places it doesn't belong.
Yeah, exactly, and especially in today's world,
Technology,
you don't want to do that. So, at any rate, just be careful. Pick your poison when it comes to the cleaner. You know, the underneath the Corvette hood, it was getting kind of grimy in there. That cover, that engine cover that's on there, pops right off. All I did was I just took some cleaner, cleaned it up, took the vacuum cleaner in there, loosened up some dirt, sucked the dirt off of it, wiped it down with a rag. Looks brand new. Yeah, the hoses, everything. It really does look good. Okay. God, you know, it's been one of those kind of days, and I kind of had the...
And technology has failed us. And we have people waiting in the Zoom room, waiting to talk to us, and we can talk to them. We just won't be able to hear them talk back. But I'll tell you, I've looked at the Zoom room of Jack Beckman. Interesting Zoom room, and he's got all of these NHRA trophies behind him.
We are going to have him back on.
Yes, we are. Have to. His show is awesome, and we need to give him a chance to talk about that.
So in the meantime and in between time, I do want to tell you about a podcast that we are going to be hosting, and we're going to post it first on Monday, August the 24th, and then they'll obviously be available on your podcast channel, whichever you prefer after that. As long as it says In Wheel Time, go to the podcast channels, and those podcast channels, I'll tell you about that in a second. But this podcast is called Bring Back Bronco, The Untold Story. It's a new podcast series, and this is going to be episode 1. The host is a guy by the name of Sonari Glinton. You may know him from National Public Radio. He's a great narrator, and he brings you into the story from the very beginning with the history of the Bronco, Lee Iacocca, Ford Motor Company, and the actual
Henry Ford too, and some of the
how
issues
it all
there.
started back in 1962, even though it didn't come out till 66. It truly is a great podcast, and I do endorse it because I actually listened to the thing. We had a sneak preview, so I could be able to tell you about it. Actually, one of the episodes it goes inside Ford's most secretive building, Studio S. Creative Laboratory gave birth to the Thunderbird, the Mustang, and even the original Bronco. Inside, designers struggled to turn the Bronco mythology into reality, and all of this is all painted for you in this podcast, an audio podcast. It's great if you're on your way to work, if you're at home, on your smartphone, doesn't make any difference. If you're into podcasts, and I've never been into podcasts, but I will tell you, this is one podcast to see. It's going to be out on the 24th, which is a week from Monday, and we encourage you to be sure and tune in. And those podcast channels are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. We got more of the In Wheel Time show right after this.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
NASCAR Short Track Racing returns this Saturday night. Advance Auto Parts presents a short track showdown at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 6. Commemorative Air Force flyover and racing get the green flag at 7. Get out of the house. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Wear your mask. Get a seat. With dollar hot dogs and dollar beer, how can you go wrong? Get the kids off their cell phones and bring them to watch NASCAR home track racing at its best. Advance tickets are online at NASCARHouston.com this Saturday night at Houston Motorsports Park.
Hey, welcome back to the In Wheel Time car show here on this hot Saturday out of Houston, Texas. It's hot, man.
Well, I'm
supposed
so
to get to
glad
100 degrees today.
I'm sure glad you turned the air conditioning on last night as opposed to last week where you turned it on just before the show started, and it was sticky in here.
You know,
So
I didn't
you're
have
the best.
I didn't have a problem at all last week.
Well, you like being sticky.
We won't even go there. But guess what? You know, I will tell you this, that I am really glad that Mars has given up on the Zoom. And now
He can join the show.
He's going
I'm
to join
here.
the show for the first time, and we welcome him to the show. Mr. Mars has a review of the Cadillac, some sort of Cadillac. I thought it was an XT6, but I may be wrong because I've been wrong all day.
No, not near as wrong as where I've been sitting over here. But I will say, I'm really glad now to be moving into a Cadillac instead of where I've been with.
In the doghouse?
Yes. So, yes, we are talking about a 2020 Cadillac XT6. We're talking about at the premium luxury with the front-wheel drive. And it actually comes in two different trim levels. You can get a sport or you can get the premium that we are driving with. And to give you an idea of the size of this CUV SUV, it is a midsize, considered a midsize, but it's basically
It's a big
on the
midsize.
platform of a GMC Acadia.
Right.
So it's on that larger end of the midsize. But you got to fit it into the brand lineup somewhere. It's considered a 7 passengers, and it also, if you're familiar with the Cadillac line, it kind of slots between the XT5 and the Escalade. So that's between the 5-passenger vehicle and the 8-passenger vehicle. So you got small, big kind of thing. So if you're looking at the outside of it, you're going to see that.
Small, big kind of thing.
Well, if this is a Goldilocks thing, this would be Mama Bear.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so it's got a really big shield-shaped grill, which I kind of like, as opposed to some of the new road scraper grills that are sitting out there on some of the vehicles. It's got the horizontal headlights on it
Road
that are
scraper.
LED headlights. You got the daytime running lights that are LED. And one thing I really liked about on the outside of it, it had the optional rear camera washer. Now, I haven't had to use that very often, but the once or twice that I did, I thought that was really pretty cool.
The rear camera washer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're backing up and you can't see nothing because
And it
it's
sprays
dirty.
a little windshield washer solvent on your rear camera lens to clean it off.
Wow.
It really makes a difference. I was really surprised.
Okay.
We also had the hands-free liftgate. We had the 20-inch wheels polished, and we had a nice big sunroof on it, dual exhaust with the chrome tips. It had a really nice look to it. It doesn't have the really wavy lines on it. It's more of what I would consider a classic look with a Cadillac. You go to the interior, and you're going to find we had the leather seating. The front seats were heated and ventilated, and we had the rear seats on the outboard side were also heated, which was a nice touch. We had a great big, nice 8-inch display for the convenience controls in the middle, for your air conditioner, your rear view camera, all those kind of things that you're going to do with the vehicle on the inside of it. But we also had an 8-inch display for the driver's info over there, so we had a lot of screens there. And we had the heads-up display, which I really liked. It was color, worked really well. And to put all this together, you had a Bose 14 speaker audio system that, with that nice, quiet Cadillac ride, really and truly filled that thing up with some quality sound. Not just loud, but there was some quality to it. Now, you get up under the hood to make all this thing go. You got a 3.6-liter V6, 310 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque, backed by a 9-speed automatic transmission. I thought a 9-speed, but with the V6 and the amount of power it's got, it really didn't search for gears or anything like some of the smaller vehicles do with the 9-speed and the smaller engines. The EPA says you should be looking for about 18 miles per gallon out in the city, 25 out on the highway, combined 20. I got right at 19 for the 450 miles that I put on it
That's
during the
pretty
week.
good.
A lot of it was out on the highway, obviously.
In what I call a large midsize SUV.
Yes. Now, one thing and it's not a hot rod by any means, but Cadillac says that it will do 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds. Now, that's more than enough time, more than enough get up and go to merge traffic and do anything else you want to do with it. It does have 3 drive modes. You can get a tour or the snow ice and a sport mode. Now, the sport mode's only available if you get the all-wheel drive model. We had front-wheel drive, so that wasn't an option for us. But I really like driving it because I felt like I was driving a Cadillac, old-school Cadillac back when they were really big behemoths running down the road that you felt like you were in a luxury vehicle. If you're looking for something to compare it to, you might look at the Lincoln Aviator that starts at around $51,100 and goes up.
At Neaterville.
And then you might also look at an Audi Q7 that starts at around $54,800. So you can get a base XT6 starting at $52,695. Now, the XT6 that we were testing, it was the base model at $52,695, but it stepped up to that premium front-wheel drive model with a few options. So the MSRP as tested is $69,585.
All right, thank you, sir. And we've got the car calendar and the race card coming up next.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still hasn't stopped. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
It is the In-Wheel Time Car Show. We thank you very much for joining us on this Saturday. We are live every Saturday from 10 until noon, 10 a.m. to noon Central Time. So we encourage you to join us every Saturday. Right now, Conrad's got this week's car calendar and the race card.
Well, the race card, the biggest news is tonight at Houston Motorsports Park is going to be NASCAR. Don Armstrong is going to be driving the pace car.
Woo!
He's going to be taking his 2001 Corvette out on the track.
Classic
2001 Corvette out on the track. And you're also going to be doing the interviews in Winter Circle.
Winter Circle interviews.
So that should be pretty cool. If you're looking for something to do tonight, that's the place to go. Masks are required. They're going to
Gates
have
open
hand
at
sanitizer.
6.
Racing starts at 7.
Yeah.
Dollar beers, dollar Cokes, dollar hot dogs. So it's a good value to bring the family.
I agree.
Other stuff going on is there's plenty of area dirt tracks around. And to talk about some of the stuff that's going on, the 105 Speedway tonight up in Cleveland, they're going to have races. Gulf Coast is off until next weekend. The Texana Speedway down in Edna, they're having races tonight as well. Indy cars next week is going to be the Indy 500. They're qualifying for Indy this week. Yes, Memorial Weekend was put off, and they're doing.
Are there going to be? Is there going to be anybody in the stands?
No,
Nobody in the
there's
stands.
nobody in the stands, but it's going to be a big television event. I've been to the Indy 500 a couple of times.
Me too.
And you definitely want to be there, but understanding the issues.
You know,
But from a driver's perspective, they don't really hear anybody, do
I
they?
was there. I was in turn 1 the year Danny Sullivan did the spin to win.
Oh, how cool.
And literally the crowd got louder than the cars, and those cars are ripping loud.
Yes.
But it was actually pretty awesome. But no, they don't hear or see the fans.
I'm sure they can. They don't even see them like when they're coming out of the turn. They don't.
At 200 miles an hour, they
Well,
are not
not by
looking-
space, but I mean they can tell that there's people there or not.
Probably,
I'm
but I
asking.
doubt that's their focus.
Well, that's probably
I'm
true.
sure they're really not paying attention to that. They're
You ever been
looking
to an
somewhere
IndyCar
down.
race?
Do what?
Have you ever been to an IndyCar race?
No, sir.
Yeah, the speeds are pretty intense.
Yeah.
So Indy cars is going to be the Indy 500, and Royce is going to be the driver of the C8 Corvette, the head of General Motors. He's actually going to be driving the car for the pace car. And then Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona is tomorrow as well in Formula One. Daytona International Speedway tomorrow for NASCAR. The NASCAR guys are going to be driving on the Daytona road course that has been IMSA and
Oh, that ought to be great.
all of that. So that's the first time they've actually driven the road course for NASCAR. So that's going to be pretty unique, and that should be a lot of fun. Heartland Park is this weekend as well for NHRA, but a couple of them I think have been canceled. Calendar of events, there's a Labor Day show in Alvin at the Garage Bar and Grill. On the 26th is the third annual Car and Bike Show in Montgomery, and then the big thing is Woody's second annual Waterfront Car Show at Topwater Grill in San Leone, and I'm getting the wiggly finger, so I'm done.
If you're a member
back
of
to you, Don.
If you're a member of a car, truck, or Jeep club, you can put your group in our car club spotlight. Just email the club's information and contact name and number, and we'll take it from there. The email address is info@inwheeltime.com. And we've got more of the In Wheel Time Car Show after a quick break.